Okay, here we go. Check number 2. Now see how it looks. I think the mic's working. How's the framing? How wrinkled is my hoodie? Very important things you need to know. Okay, Balkan road trip. 10 days, 5 countries, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Serbia. Some of the highlights: beautiful scenery, abandoned military sites, delicious food, quirky hidden gems, and an overnight train ride right out of the 70s. I know what you're thinking, the Balkans. Didn't everything get blown up there during the 90s? Well, kind of. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, Dubrovnik, that place? No, not Dubrovnik. Although it's beautiful, and technically it is in the Balkans, one thing this world does not need is another video about Dubrovnik. For most Americans, the Balkans is just a blank mystery blob in the middle of Europe. All we heard in school was about the wars, conflict, and civil unrest during the 90s. And if you're old like me, you may have also learned a little bit about Tito, the leader of Yugoslavia, not the vodka. Despite its turbulent past, people say it's one of the most interesting and underrated regions in Europe to visit right now. So I headed out on this crazy road trip to see for myself. Ready? Here we go. We flew from Los Angeles to Ljubljana, Slovenia, with a connection in Amsterdam. I had pre-booked a taxi to pick us up at the airport and take us directly to Lake Bled. The reason I pre-arranged the airport transfer? Taxi scams. Google it. This part of the world is generally very safe for tourists, except for pickpockets and taxi scams, especially at airports, so be careful. Now, Lake Bled. Unbelievably beautiful, really stunning. Touristy, yes, unfortunately, and also a little pricey, but in my opinion, totally worth it. Stayed at the Bled Rose Hotel. Impressive breakfast, convenient location near the bus stop. While you're in Lake Bled, try the cream cake. People say you need to try it at the Park Hotel, where it was invented, but I had it at a bakery called Zima, and it was still delicious. After Lake Bled, we needed to head back to Ljubljana to meet the tour group and get ready for the road trip. Stayed in the former prison, now called Hostel Celica, because why not? We wanted somewhere to sleep that wasn't boring, and it was a one-of-a-kind experience. The hostel is modern, with a cute outdoor patio area and a little bar. There's also a display downstairs with stories and photos from the dark days when the building was actually used as a prison. Met up with the group and checked out Ljubljana. Some of the highlights: the old town, cobblestone streets, super charming, especially the bridges, the Triple Bridge, the Dragon Bridge, really cool place. There's a lot of good food options in Ljubljana as well. And if you're vegetarian, take advantage of the food options here, because as we drove further south, the veggie choices became more and more limited. Next up, Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. One of the unexpected highlights of the trip. It's fun, independent, and quirky. The people there know they're not Dubrovnik, and they don't care. They just do their own thing, and if you like it, fine, and if you don't, that's fine too. Not the most beautiful, although the old town is cute and fun to walk around. But my impression is, it's just a nice, livable city. Not too touristy, cool bars, restaurants, and shops, good public transportation. Definitely worth a visit. Check out a place called Swanky. It's been around for years. It's mainly a bar, but also has good Asian food. Really friendly, casual vibe. Check it out. And vegetarians, Zagreb's pretty much the last call for you guys. After this, your choices are pretty much going to be limited to shopska salad and margarita pizza. Rolling out of Zagreb, we hit up Jeleva, an abandoned military complex known by its code name, Object 505. The place was a top-secret Yugoslavian air base built into the side of the mountain. It's fascinating, like something out of a James Bond movie. A massive complex that had 5 runways and facilities for 1,000 workers and 60 aircraft inside. But thanks to the internet, Jeleva has gotten really well known and actually gets very crowded. It's especially popular with motorcycle tour groups, so try to arrive early in the day if possible. Some people even ride their motorcycles inside the tunnels, which granted looks really fun, but if you're there walking around, it can be super loud and distracting. We wrapped up the visit to Jeleva and got back on the road. We crossed the border into Bosnia and spent the next 2 nights in Sarajevo. Real quick, if you guys are finding this information useful, entertaining, maybe helpful, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Okay, back to the Balkans. Except for the military base, we didn't really see a lot of destruction left over from the wars in the 90s. But in Sarajevo, we saw a lot more remnants of the fighting, and it was a grim reminder of how quickly a city can go from hosting the Winter Olympics to a full-on war zone. So before traveling to Sarajevo, do yourself a favor and read up on these 3 things, because these 3 events are going to come up over and over again during your time in Sarajevo. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which set off a series of unfortunate events that led up to the start of World War I. Also read up on the 1984 Winter Olympics held in Sarajevo, and get familiar with the siege of Sarajevo, a tragic, prolonged military operation against the city that lasted from 1992 to 1996. A couple recommendations I have: check out the abandoned Olympic bobsled track. It's cool to look at and a nice little hike through the forest. Also visit the Tunnel of Hope. This was built under the airport runway and served as a lifeline to the outside world during the siege. And third, go to this quirky, one-of-a-kind Tito-themed laundromat called Tito's Iron Fist Laundry. And I'm not making that up. Even if you don't need your clothes washed, it's still worth a visit to check out the memorabilia, have a chat with the owner, and maybe buy a t-shirt or some souvenirs. We hit the road again, and in about an hour outside of Sarajevo, stopped at Konjic, a very charming Bosnian town located along the Neretva River. You'll see a historic stone bridge, originally built in 1683, destroyed in 1945 during World War II, and carefully rebuilt in 2009. On the outskirts of Konjic, we visited Tito's bunker, a nuclear bomb shelter built for Tito and 350 of his closest colleagues to go to in the event of an attack. It was built in complete secrecy from 1953 to 1979. The workers were even blindfolded during the drive and weren't allowed to remove the blindfolds until they got on site. Or so they say. Who knows? It was a long time ago, right? I wasn't there. Now it's a protected national monument where they run tours and host art exhibits. A couple things to know if you plan to visit: you must book in advance and register your passport details. And then you'll be given a specific time slot when to arrive for the tour. We said goodbye to Konjic and continued our road trip with a scenic drive to Mostar, which rivaled Lake Bled as the most beautiful destination on the trip. I really believe it's impossible to take a bad photo in Mostar. It's touristy, no getting around that, but a lot of the tourists are on a day trip, so try to avoid visiting the old town during the middle of the day. If you can plan to visit in the morning or after 6 or 7 in the evening, I think you'll have a much better experience. Leaving Mostar, our group rumbled on out of Bosnia and crossed the border into Montenegro, because we were on a time frame to get to Podgorica, the capital of Montenegro, in order to catch the overnight sleeper train to Belgrade, Serbia. Along the way, we made some stops in Kotor and Budva. In my opinion, although beautiful, they're overpriced and boring, and way too touristy, especially Kotor. No character, no soul, just overpriced cafes and trinket shops. So now let's talk about Podgorica, known as Titograd when it was part of Yugoslavia. Not nearly as pretty as Kotor and Budva, but also boring. Although I have to say, at least Podgorica had some character and personality. It is the country's capital after all, with a population of about 180,000. And this is the place where our road trip turned into a train trip. We boarded the overnight sleeper train for Belgrade and got settled in for the night. What an experience. I think the sleeper cars are probably from the 1970s and not comfortable. It was jerky and loud, especially going through the tunnels. Plus, there's no food on the train, so bring snacks. But a unique throwback experience and totally worth doing, in my opinion. I've heard the route is really scenic because it starts out in the mountains, but because we boarded the train after dark, there's no way to tell. We rolled into Belgrade Central Station the next morning, feeling pretty beat up from the bumpy train ride. And one tip I have about the train station, I used an ATM there called Alta, A-L-T-A, and it didn't charge any extra transaction fees. I mean, things can change, but in May of 2026, it was the only one I found that didn't charge any extra fees. So after Podgorica, Belgrade really seems like a bustling, proper, cosmopolitan city. There's a good nightlife scene, bars, restaurants, live music. Things are quite spread out, but the good news is public transportation, buses and trams is free. Free! So it doesn't cost a lot to get around. Couple places to visit. The fortress is interesting and has good views. Skadarlia, the charming cobblestone street for restaurants and live music. And the Tesla Museum. To be clear, Tesla the scientist, not the cars. And 2 restaurants I recommend: Verona, which is a cool, low-key neighborhood kafana. It's near the old train station, but something to keep in mind, people do smoke inside, which is pretty common in this part of the world, actually. And the second restaurant I recommend is called Plato. It's in a good location, not far from Republic Square near Studienski Park. And when you go inside, it's just like a relaxing green oasis. You feel your stress level drop the minute you go through the door. Lots of plants and soft lighting. Our waiter was helpful and friendly. Really nice place. And one other Belgrade recommendation for coffee lovers. I had an excellent pour-over at a place called Lokal, L-O-K-A-L. It's near the Tesla Museum. It's small but mighty and has this vibe of a 90s era coffee house. Funky, mismatched furniture and a cool chill-out seating area upstairs. All right, everybody, that's going to be a wrap on this Balkan road trip. After 10 days, 5 countries, several border crossings, and 1 bone-jarring overnight train ride. My biggest takeaway is this: the Balkans is not just a destination, it's a reminder that places are complicated. It's historic, quirky, and beautiful, and also tragic in some places and overrun with tourists in others. But I definitely think it's worth visiting. The people are friendly and welcoming, the prices are reasonable, and most places aren't overrun with tourists, as long as you skip Kotor and Budva. If you have any questions or opinions, ideas for future videos, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Thanks a lot for watching. If you made it this far, you're a rock star. Really appreciate you. Cheers. See you next time. Checking everything, the framing, the mic. I'm going to do this with the mic. Okay, now, can you hear me? Is the mic working? Because I never know if it's the mic picking me up or the built-in mics. Okay, let's see how it is.